morning and welcome to Gmsl. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning and we have a very special topic to discuss with you. Now, have any one of you wondered how you perceive, how the world perceives you and how you portray yourself to the world? It's a very important question, especially when you put the word corporate in front of it. When you take social interaction and you put the word corporate social interaction, it stops being just about you. It becomes about the place you work in, because how you portray yourself to the world as a corporate person makes or breaks a deal. Now we have two experts in the studio with us, two lovely ladies who's going to tell us all about corporate social etiquette and also social etiquette. Now it's my great honor to introduce one of Sri Lanka's very well-known corporate trainers. It's Mrs. Nidra Vikramasinghe. She's the Executive Director of the Nedisa Corporate Social Interaction and Nedisa Finishing School. Ma'am, welcome to Good Morning Sri Lanka, and good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for asking me.
And our second guest is Mrs. Mahika Chandrasena Pereira, the Manager of Corporate Communications and PR at the Mount Lavinia Hotel Group. Thank you so much for joining us on Gmsl today, ma'am. Ma'am, now this topic is something that a lot of people have a lot of questions about, and also a lot of people don't know where to go when it comes to etiquette.
Sure.
So if you could first, Mrs. Nidra, if you could tell us what etiquette really means.
Right. Etiquette is actually, a lot of people think it's a set of rules, right?
Yes.
It is actually guidelines.
All right.
For instance, see, nowadays, business attire, the office setup, there's a lot of flexibility, you see. So when there's flexibility, for instance, say now we are opening up commerce and industry down south, deep down south, maybe even in north and even in the east. So you know, there's a lot of things happening there, and we do not know where the business is taking place, right? It could be informal or formal.
Yes.
Whatever happens, the main thing here is they must realize that the social skills are very important for professional success.
Yes.
That is, you know, what I have got to say to start with.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with that, and I always state to myself, there are no second chances for first impressions.
It's true.
So the way you carry yourself, the way you appear is not only that the image doesn't is not the only thing. It's the way you introduce yourself,
Yes.
the way you you know, have the eye contact per se, and how you bring out yourself in a forum. So I believe etiquette is something that will, as in, I mean, I endorse the fact that you state that you either make it or break it, but it's how you will show the world what you really are.
Maggie, you're such a vivacious corporate personality, and Nidra, you also you've worked all your life and you've come across as such a strong businesswoman. If both of you could tell me how you take your personality and incorporate that into the social etiquette that is in the corporate world, how do you do that so that you don't depersonalize yourself as well?
Sure. Do you want to start? Or?
The thing is, you must understand that most of the business interaction takes place in social environment.
Absolutely.
You see all the five-star hotels, Mahika will know, everything is a corporate do, right? It's mostly geared, whether it is the airline, whether it's the tourism, whether it is the hospitality, it is all geared for business, you see. So that is where, see, for instance, there are different kinds of professional settings, you see. And it helps if one person can behave accordingly, right? Now the social settings could be, or the professional settings could be a one-to-one client meeting, it could be a meeting over a lunch, putting a deal through, a board meetings, it could be the conference, seminar, and also business reception cocktails, right? So those are the things that they have to know. If you know how to behave properly, confidently in those things, you become very pleasant, you become very confident, and above all, enjoyable to work with.
Yes.
And that is important for building up relationships. You see, that is where it leads to. You see, because nobody does business by yourself.
That's
it is
true.
all with someone.
Yes.
So etiquette, in my opinion, is so vital in building this business relationship.
To add to that, yes, we all have wonderful personalities. Everybody says I'm vivacious and all of that. But at the end of the day, you're representing Mount Lavinia Hotel Group, wherever you go. So when you go to even to a cocktail, there is always that pleasure side of it, but then it's still a business forum. Because you're representing your Mount Lavinia Hotel. Even when you are, not within the forms of the hotel, you represent Mount Lavinia Hotel. So when you go for a cocktail, you need to know that, I personally do not have alcohol. I do not have alcohol, not because of anything. The person I'm talking to, the gestures, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to bring in certain kind of business. I'm trying to portray something from the hotel's perspective. And if I'm giving some kind of a signal. I know some people may not.
So it's a 24/7 job.
For me,
you have
absolutely.
to always keep that sort of business personality on as well.
Correct. And I will maintain my personality, but at the same time, you have to, you're trying to get, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. And you cannot, just because, there's alcohol, there's food, you need to know that you need to take the cocktail from, when you're eating something in your left, because you always have to keep your right hand available to shake hands with somebody.
I see.
So it's those little things that I have got into my system. So, even taking your big bag with you, it's going to be in the car. I will just take my little business card holder and my phone, which I switch off at a certain times, but I take that along because I may meet my friends as well, but you have those kind of people as well. But then once again, you're representing your hotel. So at any given time, you have to be presentable.
I see. And that brings us to these 15 insights that we came across when we were doing our research that we want to ask our two lovely ladies who are experts on this topic. Now, our first insight is always say please and thank you. Now, in the corporate setting, it's not just about meeting someone saying please and thank you. You have emails, you have thank you notes that you have to send.
Absolutely.
How do these come into play in a corporate setting?
Okay, shall I start? Okay. When it comes to emails, and we are in communications. I'm in a hotel 24/7. It never sleeps.
Yes.
When it comes to emails, each one has to be thought. We have a wonderful general manager in the hotel who we always sit together and we brainstorm certain things when it comes to main issues. And he trusts us that when you even address somebody, even in an email, you can't show that it's in a quick form. You have to take your time, either dear Mr. Kasim or dear Nidra, something like that. But you can't just because it's an email, there's always those etiquettes that you need to follow. And yes, if you are very close to that person, you can say with best regards. But if you're not, and it's a business saying thanking you're sincerely, all those things have to be in place. Because a little glitch in an email, something, for example, now Kasim, some people may know it's a gentleman, it's a male name, but some people wouldn't know.
That's true.
So leaving it in that sense, you will always say dear sir or dear madam, so that you won't tread on toes.
That's true.
So therefore you always have to, when you're communicating, because that's how people perceive as what you are in the hotel.
Nidra, on the topic of please and thank you, if you could tell us a little bit about those personal touches, when somebody takes the time to write a note saying thank you personally.
Now those things, when I do my training, what I'll do, they are all personal enhancement. You see, why people have certain, they have a reputation, so the way they do things.
Yes.
Now, I also was a journalist, one time, and when I had the opportunity of interviewing, like the CEOs and so on and so forth, and certain mentors, who really kind of grew me, who I was really inspired by. I kind of studied all these people. What I bring to my training is actually the experience I have had in the corporate world, right, and social world. So here, I notice few things. Manners are very good. That is for civility. Otherwise you become very uncivilized.
Sure.
Right? Manners are like things like, not greeting, not acknowledging, jumping a queue. Those things really, if you are rude, you can't be well mannered. The opposite of manners is being rude, okay? Insolent, inconsiderate. Manners is common sense, logic. Right. Now, for personal enhancement, I always say, you must always remember a person's name.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
Now, Sam, you were introduced, I told you. Thank you, Sam, bye, Sam, that sort of thing. But always, because they love to hear their name. Okay? That's sure, because you have to listen, question and listen very well when somebody is talking, not to be preoccupied with what you are going to create or say. Then the other thing is, you have to, like as Mahika said, acknowledging emails in the corporate world, it has to be done in 24 hours, right? Within 24 hours. Yes. Sometimes it's it's happening like a Skype thing almost immediately. You go for lunch, you come back, you send an acknowledgement and thanking email for the lunch, and then you immediately send us a reply. So it's online, of course. Now with iPads and all these things, it has to be. You can't wait. Then telephone calls, you have to reply. You must voicemails or anything. There are instances where I have had to choose between two people as guest lecturers. One of the people that I contacted first, was having a voicemail and never replied, and then of course took time. But in the meantime, I went to somebody else, and that person came on board, and now we are partners, so to speak. You see, it's just that it was a bit delayed. So then also, thank you notes are so vital for everything, and it has been written in real ink pens. It's not the handwritten, personalized. No ballpoint pen. What do you call it? Biro, is it? Biro for ballpoint pen. Yeah, it has to be written like that.
I'm afraid I'm using one.
That's okay. Or the sweet, lovely presenter who is here. And also gifts are like in appreciation of something. You have to be very careful of this, because you see it can backfire.
Yes, sure.
It has happened to me. It has. So you have to be very, very careful as to what type of like in appreciation. You have like flowers for somebody's birthday. I think little things like that. And also to be aware of your clients' customers. Like if you know that a good customer has won some golf tournament or who has won some award, then it's nice again to keep in touch. So those things, I notice a lot of people who have reached the top, their personal skills like that are just fantastic. I think they are just the leadership that they show in that. I think, you see.
And just to add to that, now phone calls, what she stated, now when you don't call back, now let's say I'm now turn my phone off and I don't call back, maybe that was a business coming into the hotel. There may be an inquiry, maybe there are people who just call me because they have either a comment or a little bit of advice about the hotel, which for me is constructive criticism. And if I don't take that, and I don't know next day, tomorrow's morning meeting, and when our general manager finds out from somebody else and I didn't come up with it, for me I will be so distraught.
That's true.
So it's once again making it or breaking it. So you have to be 24/7 online. That's what I always say.
And I think we touched on most of our 13 points in that first point itself. My next one was something that I really observed the both of you practicing. The next point is don't interrupt. Now lots of people tend to want to get their point across, especially in those heated board meetings. Somebody will speak over the other person. If it's a gentleman, they can use their loud booming voice.
Correct.
So your opinion on that, Mike, if you could tell us your opinion on not interrupting.
Okay, because at the end of the day, each person has his expertise or strength. So you need to listen. You need to listen, you need to contribute after. You need to be very attentive, because sometimes, now what she also said before, being, when your mind is working about something else, and you are not listening to that person, and you bring out